Hey folks, welcome to the Wealth Transfer with TC. Today I want to talk about the Iraqi Dinar. I've been receiving messages from different people about the Iraqi Dinar, that YouTuber Nader from the Middle East is saying that the dinar has revalued or whatever. It's behind the scenes and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, let me go ahead and do a video. Let me go listen to some of the videos. Let me go check things out. And because I know I've been in this for the longest time. I think I started purchasing dinars approximately around October of 2009. And I was listening to the gurus back then all the way up until right now. Now, I don't focus or pay attention too much on the Iraqi dinar anymore because where I believe when it's going to happen, when it's going to take place, all those things, those events have not taken place or even started to take place. I have seen gurus come and go from everywhere, whether they're from the United States or they're from Europe or they're from the Middle East or they're from Iraq. Whatever the case, we've had the insider intel and all that stuff. So there's been a lot of predictions that have not come to pass all this time. And so now the Iraqi dinar community is all up in an uproar about the revaluation or reinstatement or whatever you want to call it. Either way, it's a change in value. Right? But I don't think that we are there at that time yet. And if it's going to change, even if it's just going to change a little bit, usually the Central Bank of Iraq will let you know. If you remember, these small rate changes they've done to get it all the way to 1190 and then they put it back to 1460, right? They always put out a press release when they do that. So I have not seen that yet. Right now, if they're going to make a change from where it's at now to $1 or $3, I don't think they're going to tell anybody that they're going to do that. But, you know, folks, I've been in this for a very long time. I don't let these things excite me because, you know, folks, I've prospered more on other investments than the Iraqi dinar. Many of you who refuse to get into other investments are still holding on to the Iraqi dinar, and you could have gotten into other investments that would have already made you money that you can go back and buy more Iraqi dinar if you chose to do so. You know, we've been through all that, the whole Chapter 7 thing, how they've been released from Chapter 7, all this and that, you know, but, you know, what I have shared on this channel specifically, and if you go back to just type in Saudi Arabia, you know, we thought for a long time that Iran really controlled Iraq, and they did. They really had a big hand in controlling Iraq. Iraq is not going to be able to do anything until they completely break free from Iran. Now, if you remember, Sadr was already part of, I mean, he was being backed, remember back in the day, by Iran, right? And then now all of a sudden he's not. Apparently there are some changes that have been made. Probably is surrounded by people that don't have any good intentions. But what's going on right now in Iraq, them storming the capital and all that stuff, that's not going to change the dinar. It's not going to change the value of the Iraqi dinar. It is not its time yet. And I share here, who really has control over Iraq, right? It's not Iran, it's Saudi Arabia. If you guys go back to the videos that I made, that's why I keep telling you Iraq has to break free from OPEC, right? That's one of the things that they got to somehow break free. And if you look at this video, the events surrounding the Dinar RV in Saudi Arabia, there's going to have to be a break in the system. And part of that break in the system is Saudi Arabia falling. And you guys, I'm not going to keep going over this stuff, but it's there. You can go to my past videos and look up and listen to the information. Saudi Arabia has more control over Iraq than Iran does, but you just don't know it. And it all has to do with oil. You have to understand this one thing, that Saudi Arabia's number one competitor in the entire region is Iraq. I shared with you Saudi Arabia's role in 9/11, right? That's why the government won't release those files dealing with that, because they were involved. And what was the country that we attacked? Who was it? It was Iraq. The people of Iraq deserve the revaluation or reinstatement of their currency. They've been used and abused. And until the people of Iraq identify who is really pulling the strings, right? Iran is pulling some of the strings, but so is Saudi Arabia and OPEC. The value of the dinar will never change as long as they are under the thumb of Saudi Arabia and OPEC. If anybody ever says, oh, they've changed the rate behind the scenes and all that stuff, until I see proof, I will never ever believe that, because I have heard that for 12 years plus. Right? And many of you who've been following the dinar have heard that same thing over and over and over. And if you've only been in the dinar for a few years, you're probably very swayed about some of this BS that does come out from these gurus all the time, where they tell you it's every weekend, and this weekend my insider has intel that it's going to happen this time or this time. How many times have we heard that it was changed behind the scenes on the computer system within the banks? How many times in the last 12 years? I've heard it a bunch of times. I mean, really, right now, it does not benefit Iraq. Not the people. We're talking about the people who are already millionaires and billionaires and business leaders and politicians in Iraq. It does not benefit them to change the value of their currency, because then guess what? Everybody can get involved. Everybody can start a business. Everybody is wealthy. And the number one reason why countries keep exchange rates low, right, is first of all, it deals with the import and exports, right, and making business deals. That's the number one reason why that all of our factories and all that stuff are all overseas, where in Mexico, China, and other places, right? Why? Because their exchange rate is low, and they keep it low on purpose. And it's going to take something from somebody within the central bank of Iraq to flip the switch. So it's not to say that they won't change the exchange rate. It might go from 460 to 1190 or 1,000 per dollar. And I've always said that. They've moved it up and down over the years. And even if they do move it up higher, that just means that when you go buy Iraqi dinar right now, it's just going to be more expensive for you to buy it. You know, and the world system is not there yet. The global currency reset is going to happen at a point in time when things seem at their worst. Because guess what? If Iraq was to revalue their currency right now, guess what? What's the next country that's supposed to come after that? Vietnam, Vietnamese dong. That doesn't make any sense right now. So what you're saying is that if we're getting ready to experience the RVRI here anytime soon, that means the rest of the world is going to do that. First of all, we already know what they're planning with the central bank digital coins. Remember how when I first started talking about how Iraq was going to have a central bank digital coin, everybody was laughing at me, right? But then I just proved to you guys not long ago that they are working on it. They finally admitted it officially that they were working on a central bank digital coin. And so what is the plan for them dealing with the central bank digital coin, right? Eventually to get rid of all cash. I've been around the block a few times. You know, I'm not an expert in that region. I'm not an expert in finance or anything like that, but I've heard this stuff long enough to know that it's not going to happen right now. And like I said, the people of Iraq have to understand why the government keeps the exchange rate low. The only thing that the revaluation benefits is the people, right? Because then that puts you on the same level as some of the neighbors of Iraq. You know, everybody focuses on Iran when the reality of things are Saudi Arabia really is the ones that is controlling everything concerning Iraq. Iraq is their number one competitor. Iraq needs to leave OPEC. We've heard prophetic words about OPEC dismantling, right? But that's what Iraq needs to do. And if you live in Iraq, that is exactly what you need to be telling everybody, to start telling their leaders, we need to get out of OPEC. If you guys remember when I talked about Saudi Arabia, who was behind ISIS? And who did they attack? They took over half of Iraq. Who were the ones that were behind ISIS? Saudi Arabia. There's the true enemy, but nobody sees that, right? I've discussed it in videos over and over again, but I guess people have just, you know, they moved on to the next guru. They've moved on to the next person who has inside intel and all that. You're not looking at what's actually there and what actually is going to take and what actually needs to take place. Kim Clement said there is going to be a break in the financial system, the dinar. Well, What is it going to take for that break to happen? You have to deal with Iran. You're going to have to deal with Saudi Arabia. You're going to have to deal with OPEC. So when you really think about it, folks, if the currency, what you're saying is if the dinar is going to revalue today or in the next week or in the next month, that means you're saying that the global currency reset is starting when we already know that the CBDCs and what they're there for, they're waiting for the fiat collapse to happen so they can introduce central bank digital coins on a mass scale and get rid of cash. That's their plan. That's the Great Reset plan. The people of Iraq have suffered enough, and they've suffered for years and years and years because of their neighbors in the Middle East and because of this country and because of what our politicians did, and we as voters allowed this to happen too as well. And the continuation of the issues they had, the government that was set up, and why they have so many problems, they made sure that this process, this democratic process they have in Iraq, and look how many issues they have with their government. There's never any consensus on anything. Everything is divided. They set up their government like that after when we first got in there, so it would remain as crazy as it is right now. That was done on purpose, right? Why do they always have an issue with prime ministers, right? Or electing a prime minister? The system that we all agreed to, United States, Europe, and the Middle East, all the other Middle Eastern countries, was a system that was put in, designed to do exactly what it's doing now, which is to cause chaos. What the Iraqi people need to know is that, first of all, they need to get out of OPEC, and they need to get rid of the influence from Iran and Saudi Arabia. Those three things are major things that need to take place. Remember, I told you what was going to happen with Saudi Arabia and their oil fields. They are constantly under attack, right? And one day, Saudi Arabia is going to lose their influence. So that's all I really have for today, folks. So I just wanted to put this video out there because we are not there yet, and there's still a lot of things that have to happen before we see that dollar rate. And also, too, that if they were to change their value to $1 or to $3, you know what that would mean? That it means the global currency reset would be starting. And we are nowhere close for that to even happen, right? They're still not ready with their central bank digital coins. They're still not ready to implement the Great Reset and when all these economies start to fall. But you guys can go back and go watch the videos. You get a full understanding of where exactly I'm coming from. So anyways, folks, that's all I have for today. I thank you guys for listening. God bless. TC out.